What's checking, everybody? Welcome to a Thursday edition of House Divided. I'm Jeff Ketchum. That is Chad Hastings. We'll be with you for, the next hour or so. Do us a solid, hit that thumbs up button, smash it, subscribe to the channel, get notifications. I hate to tell you this every single day, but it's needed. And you should know this. If this were radio, I would tell it to you like 12 times an episode of the show, right? How many times did we sit in the meetings with people who were like, you got to say it over and over and over and over and over? So I know if it annoys you a little bit, I understand. Oh, yeah, smash the thumbs up button, subscribe, all those things. But we come from a medium originally.
Look how nice this chat is.
Hey, Nick.
Look at that. Hadn't had a phone for 3 days. The only thing he missed, us.
We get that a lot.
Oh, yeah. Y'all are my favorite part of technology. We hear it all the time.
The only person that doesn't say that is my wife and kids. Strange.
Our wives and kids have mixed feelings.
They do, yes.
All of you seem to have consistent ones. Thank you very much.
Thank you for filling that void that I apparently am not otherwise getting from my family. Thanks, everybody, including Nick, for jumping into the Specs chat. We love Specs. You love Specs. What else is there to say? We'll remind you of Specs a little bit later on in this show. Look, there's a lot of places that we could begin with. Longhorns had practice today. We're now 9 days away from the spring game. So it's, all of a sudden, the Specs chat's just popping, and it distracted me there for a second.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff to get into, Chad. I feel like on some level, the thing that we have to get into right at the top of the show is the latest on the Bear Alexander situation. It's where we ended yesterday's show. So I don't know. I feel like we'd be ducking it if we didn't update everybody on the very latest with Bear Alexander after we finished the show yesterday. It was after we finished, right?
It was after. In fact, we'll get the timestamp, obviously, when we put it up here. But if you saw on Twitter after the show, Bear Alexander throws this out. So let's look at the time. 1:28 p.m. Yes, exactly. So really right after we go off. Says, I'm not crystal clear on all of the noise or what any of this portal mess is about, ... I'm here to finish what I started, and that's chasing a natty here at USC with my teammates. #fight on. And then the double, in case you don't know, that's not like the peace sign. That's the hand sign that USC does. They do some kind of a two-fingered hand sign out there in California. Catch, first off, I just appreciate that Bear Alexander turned into a 70-year-old man for some reason. I don't know what all this transfer portal stuff's all about. Dude, you transferred from Georgia to USC after attending 4 high schools. Don't make us believe you don't know what the transferring part is all about. Come on.
Well, and just so you guys know, if you were in the show yesterday, we talked about having Catherine on. I did communicate with Catherine after the show is over.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think it's probably best that Catherine, I'm going to represent Catherine today and do my best. We're teamed together, I think, on this story. We've been talking to a lot of the same people. Orange Bloods has been in communication with a lot of different people. I almost don't know where to start other than to say, we joked about this yesterday, how uncomfortable it must have been for Bear Alexander to be involved in USC activities, football activities, practice, meetings, things like that. This story comes out on Tuesday, and the easiest thing that I can tell you is that one of two things happened. Either it was just flat out amateur hour, and the buzz on this needs to wait until the portal opens up. That it didn't is somewhat problematic, and I think for reasons that eventually probably motivated Bear Alexander to make the tweet that he did yesterday. He's got to look his USC teammates, coaches in the eye. It's complicated and a little uncomfortable. Or there was a little bit of sabotage involved in this. What I've been told, and I believe what Catherine has been told, and Catherine, if you're in this, there it is. Catherine's right there. We've been kind of told the same thing. Team Catching Catherine, double K. The sense was that someone who used to be affiliated with Bear Alexander was on the front foot of letting the message get out. I haven't heard any names. I don't know specifically who this person would be. You hear things like handler and representative, and it's a reminder that college athletics is in a very interesting place right now, that the portal is still new. Player representation is still new. These players, depending on the player, all have certain amounts of people. One way or the other, somebody who either was or is still or was in the past connected to Bear. The word on the streets, the word that we've been given, is that person helped push this out early. And now it's left Bear Alexander in a bit of a tricky position. The portal hasn't opened up. And if the word gets out that he wants to go to Texas, that it looks kind of bad behind the scenes, almost as if a deal was done before deals are technically supposed to get done. Someone mentioned yesterday, I think on the Outsiders, was this similar to like NFL free agency when teams have deals announced at 12:01 a.m., but they pretend like there's been no communication or contact before then. Maybe. I think I mentioned this on Orange Bloods, and I'll mention it here. It kind of reminds me of the Trey Moore situation. If you'll remember, when Trey Moore entered the portal, one of the things that happened around that was Jeff Traylor kind of lost it in an interview with the media. He was like, high school coaches tell me who's been contacting whom. I know what's going on behind the scenes. And like, he wasn't real happy about it. And from the moment that Trey Moore entered the portal, the sense was, oh, well, that guy's going to go to Texas. Why wouldn't he go to Texas? He's going to go to Texas. What ended up happening was he took a couple of visits. He went to Alabama. He listened to some other people. Then he went to Texas. Then he committed to Texas. And it certainly created, I think, if a facade needed to be created, it was done so that it wasn't as simple as he entered the portal and just went to Texas. I wonder if Bear Alexander is going to be in a similar situation where we're still being told behind the scenes that Bear Alexander is going to enter the portal. Contrary to what was on that tweet, that come April 15th or sometime shortly thereafter, that Bear Alexander will enter the portal. We can't say for certain that that's going to happen. I've been telling you guys since this story broke, sometimes you get guys that have representatives telling people behind the scenes that guys are going to enter the portal, and then they don't. Sometimes guys don't listen to their managers or their lawyers or their agents or their brand managers or anything like that. Sometimes they change their minds, or sometimes they're not all on the same page. What I'll tell you is, behind the scenes, we're still being told that Bear Alexander is going to enter the portal. What is my response to all of that?
Elmo shrug.
Elmo shrug. I don't completely know what to tell you guys other than what we're being told. But, you know, I've got my 85% It's Austin, It's Hudson Card t-shirt on today. Totally it just turned out to get washed today. And I was like, oh, a clean t-shirt. I'll pop that on.
Yeah, someone was asking about that, actually. I was going to get to later, but you just referenced it. It says, I hope it is what I think it is.
85%, baby. It's Austin. If you go, and you can see the Hudson Card thing there is at the bottom. If you can't laugh at yourself, who can you laugh at?
There it is.
Sometimes you just got to be a part of the joke.
Yeah. Got to be able to laugh at yourself because you always know where you are.
And so, this thing with Bear Alexander, I'm not climbing on any limbs. What I will tell people, Catherine's in the chat. She's got, her own pages and stuff like that. I mean, I understand where she's coming from. I wouldn't, if anybody wants to direct any heat towards her because she was in the chat yesterday saying certain things, or wants to go on her social media pages and guys, we heard the same things. I know who she was talking to. We've talked to the same people, and those people are still kind of communicating that Bear Alexander probably still ends up at Texas. I don't think anything on the Texas side of things has changed. I think they're aware. They've been made aware that Bear Alexander is interested in the portal. No official communication or contact has taken place because that would be illegal. But I think they know. Like I said, we can't live in this naive world where we pretend that there's not a grapevine, that people don't talk behind the scenes, and that it gets passed around. I know I sent text messages to some of my sources yesterday saying, hey, this is what I've heard. Some of them just didn't get back to me yesterday. Texas would have an interest in Bear Alexander if he were to enter the portal. But I think we still need to see some developments take place from there. And I brought up Trey Moore. I wouldn't be surprised if, when this is all said and done, we see Bear Alexander take a couple of visits for the sake of making sure that it doesn't look, I think, like any funny business is taking place. I don't think, ultimately, I think Bear's people or former people, whoever it was that let this get leaked, or Bear, if it was Bear, like, they needed to know this needed to stay quiet for, a few more days, a week. Just wait 5 days, wait 6 days, enter the portal, do all that stuff. What happens from here? Not sure. Will we cover it? Absolutely. I will tell you that, as I think I mentioned here on the show yesterday, there is expectations that while there are some people on the Bear Alexander team that are pretty strongly saying that they think he wants to come back to Texas, there is a Big Ten team that also, I think, would have an interest in Bear Alexander that he might take a visit to should he start taking visits. I don't think Texas, if Bear Alexander enters the portal, is going to do anything to break their back. If Bear Alexander wants to be a part of the Texas program and do it within the structure that Texas would feel comfortable with, then I think we might be in business. If Bear Alexander is looking for the highest bidder, probably won't be Texas. What do we know about Bear Alexander? Well, for the last couple of years, he's gone after the highest bidder. There is a sense, what I've been told, technically what people on Orange Bloods have been told, because I didn't take the phone call or do the text exchanges. I've just seen them. There's a sense that he wants to get home and be closer to his father. I don't know if there's any illness there or not, but I know that there is a sense he wants to come home and play closer to family. We heard that a year ago with Adonai Mitchell. This isn't an issue of a young man having kids as much as I think he just wants to come home and play closer to his family. Texas, having emerged as a real national championship contender, has made them, I think, viable for a guy that has already won a national championship at Georgia, would like to win another. So that's that. That's kind of the Bear Alexander story. There's lots of puns. That's the great thing about his nickname being Bear. By the way, his first name, for those of you that just don't know, is Keithian, just so you know. Exactly. Orange Bloods 01. Tell us, catcher, we're going to have to just grin and bear it.
Yeah. Come
Look,
on.
given that Jason Dick turned into Bear Dick yesterday on the Outsiders show, and I cut a promo with it, like, we're all having a good time with rawr and, the bear thing. we'll wait and see. I think this thing goes quiet now for the next, at least until the 15th. The funny thing is, I heard from multiple people in this that there were plans for Bear Alexander to be in Austin on the day of the spring game, the 20th. So, again, Elmo shrug.
Yeah.
Is that going to happen? I don't think that's going to happen now. That is one thing that it seems like a couple of people have walked back, although they've confessed that it originally was kind of something that they thought might happen. I think this thing will now play out beyond the 20th if he enters the portal, and it might be a late April endeavor as opposed to something that on the day of the spring game becomes finalized. Other than that, man, I don't know what else to say. It is college athletics at its current best and worst. And we'll have to wait and see. Is this the kind of thing that would make Texas not interested in Bear Alexander? I doubt it. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a guy who probably has intentions of entering the portal. And the word of that just got out too early. And look, will that tweet mean anything at all? Maybe. I can remember, look, Barry and Brown at Kentucky was leaning towards going to the portal. Word got out early. And he was in a post-game interview after, I think they played Louisville. This was 2 years ago. So, November of 2022. And he got asked about it by the local media after the game. I was kind of shocked that an SID maybe I'm just used to the Texas SID who would have absolutely stepped in the middle of a player and the media and been like, we are not doing this. But they asked him like, yo, there are rumors about you entering the portal. And Barry and Brown emphatically said, no such thing is taking place. I'm committed to Kentucky. I'm not entering the portal. And there was a feeling that emphatic Ocean's 11, maybe he wasn't careful about being emphatic, that it kind of put him into a corner that eventually saw him stay with Kentucky. Sometimes these things matter. Barry and Brown is my example. Sometimes they don't. A week later, they enter the portal and they don't ever have to worry about answering questions about, well, what did you say back just that's what I said a couple of days ago. I had to do what I had to do. I also think USC, now with full awareness to what's taking place, is probably trying to give Bear Alexander more money to stay at USC for this season because they don't want to lose him, which probably goes to the question of, would Texas still want Bear Alexander? Well, I'll let you know that USC still wants him, that none of this uncomfortableness has led to the coach at USC, Lincoln Riley, saying, you're out of the program, you're booted. Instead, it's more like, is there anything else that we can do to make you happy so that you don't enter the portal? So that's it. That's Bear. I don't know what else to say. That's like 18 minutes of the show, Chad. That's my Bear Alexander update.
There it is. Up over 360 folks in the Specs chat. We welcome you in to House Divided. We'll get to some other stuff. Longhorn football. We'll get Catch's thoughts on camp. We do need to hit a quick basketball story today, and we will get to the death of O.J. Simpson before the show is done.
Hey, real quick, Chad.
Yes.
I saw this in the Specs chat from Matt. Any news at all on if the Michigan might have some of their defensive linemen enter the portal? No, Matt, because if any of their guys enter the portal, they're going to wait until the 15th before any of that gets out.
They will not be at practice having to deal with that discussion.
It's not going to happen.
They don't want to do it that way. There's another one, right? Everybody's wondering, are we seeing anybody from Michigan coming to Texas?
Sit tight, stay tuned, be patient.
Monday is the day. Interesting that it's a Monday, that it happens to fall on a Monday, that they made it the 15th. They wouldn't have made it a Monday on purpose, but that is weird. Coming out of a weekend, you're getting back to classes, and that's portal day. The first day you can announce, and you got until the 30th to say you're officially in. So we'll see what happens. And obviously, spring game right in the middle for everybody, for Texas, for USC. I don't know about Michigan's spring game. I'd have to look up that date, but there's a lot of teams going on the 20th. There's a lot of teams piling in. I know Clemson's already done theirs, but I have not heard of another bigger name.
Michigan's on April 20th as well.
It is the 20th. Yeah, like everybody's piling in on that 20th day to really get it done. So we'll stay tuned for all of that. Catch, before we get into anything else, why don't you tell them about My Perfect Franchise? I don't know that Bear Alexander's crew has done it perfectly, but I know we do know one guy that would like to do it perfectly.
Yeah, man. If you want to own your own business, be your own brand, live the dream, it's real simple. You contact our guy over at My Perfect Franchise, Andy Ledke, and you let him know, hey, I got an idea for a business. This is what I want to do. And he can help you make the plan. What's the first step? What's the second step? What are the things that I need to do to make sure that I'm doing it legally, that I'm doing it in ways that, that I'm not going to get shut down? That's what he's there for. He's there to be a guide. And he doesn't make money unless this thing starts to happen, unless, it's not like the very first time you talk to him, there's money on the table. It's not like that at all. He wants this to work for you. But first he's got to be able to talk to you and figure out what you're trying to do. Reach out to him, 404-973-9901. Text him, call him, whichever you prefer, or Andy at myperfectfranchise.net. Shoot him an email. Say, look, I got an idea. I want to start this business. Can we chat? And then let it start from there. But today's the perfect day. Why wait? Start living the dream. Start doing that thing for yourself that you've always wanted to do. And let My Perfect Franchise help you. MyPerfectFranchise, yes, .net.
Hope everybody's having a great Thursday. It is a wild day with the Bear Alexander stuff and some other things. We'll get into more Texas stuff. We got some good chats rolling in. This is my favorite chat of the day so far. Christopher, thank you. My wife's lover told me Bear will still enter the portal. Just FYI. All right, there you go.
Okay.
Fantastic. And then this bit of snarkiness from Vivek got my attention. LOL, USC is one of the kings of tampering, i.e. Addison and Pitt coach accusing them. So yeah, let's tamper like hell. All right, Vivek, there you go.
And look, Vivek though makes a good point. Like, we live in a world where things happen. I mean, there aren't any accidents anymore. There will be a number of guys that enter the portal on April 15th, and they'll know exactly where they're going the day they enter the portal. We've seen this for years. I can remember when Jaquindon Jackson and Cameron Rising entered the portal for Texas, and within a day, within 24 hours, had announced that they were going to Utah. Like, It just kind of is the way of the world these days, and Texas probably involved in it too.
Here's an interesting question coming in from Matt Catch. Says, do the two of you think he would actually be an upgrade over what we have on the interior at this point? And to that, I might say, is that really the point? Or is this about adding somebody to the rotation at a rotational position? Like, Catch, for you, would the idea be here, this guy needs to be better than Alfred Collins and Vernon Broughton? Is that the idea?
Yes, he's an upgrade.
Okay.
And I don't think they're looking for Terrell Carter. When Terrell Carter came in last year, in a way, they've got that with Tia Vea, the defensive tackle that they brought in from Arizona. They've got kind of a rotational guy already. I think they're looking for someone who is a starting level player. And I think Bear Alexander would be an upgrade of what they have right now.
And either of the Michigan guys would also be that.
Correct. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Matt, we appreciate the question. There is a lot of good chats rolling in, and we do appreciate any and all weird wordplay that may be used today. That would be good stuff. All right, Catch. How about Longhorn practice, as we are 9 days away, single digits, 9 days from the spring game? Anything that we need to know about today in terms of the team itself and not portal discussion? Or maybe it is portal, but the other side of portal discussion.
Well, I think it's, Samaje Burrell is no longer in the program, suspended by Sarkisian indefinitely. word we got is he's gone. He won't be back, and that he's would thus expect to be enter the portal when it opens up. Redshirt freshman from a year ago. He's barely been in town long enough. Look, here's what I would say. Don't be third or fourth team on the depth chart and be in trouble. And then at a time when the team needs to lose 6 or 7 guys. Because I think in a world where, maybe there's another alternative universe where they're a little patient on this. Man, we've seen the Texas football program be patient on a lot of people over the years that would make you go, well, why not just get rid of that guy? Like, why? Steve Sarkisian, no patience here. Samaje Burrell suspended indefinitely. It is ultimately the sign, I think, that Samaje Burrell will know that he needs to start looking ahead. He's gone. I thought one thing that was really interesting today was that Gunnar Helm, Jaden Blue, and Jake Majors. Did I say Majors? Yeah. No, Gunnar Helm, Jake Majors, and Jaden Blue all met with the media today. I thought that was interesting that, Jaden Blue being treated like a starter, rolling out there with Gunnar Helm and Jake Majors, 2 very experienced players. There's a couple of interesting things that were said. Jaden Blue made a point to say that he thought he was the fastest player on the team and that he says he ran 10.2 his junior year in the 100 meters, which all I can say is that never happened in a track meet. Because I've seen part of the thing about Jaden Blue was that when he was, I don't mean to bicker, I don't mean to nitpick, but one of the reasons why we wanted to see him run the 100 as a senior is he ran an 11.2 at his district track meet, which isn't like elite of the elite. 10.2 is, my God, 10.2 is Jamal Charles speed.
Yeah, that's fine.
I thought it was interesting that Jaden Blue was out there. Jake Majors made an interesting conversation today in that he singled out Aaron Bryant, the young defensive lineman, and said that he would put Aaron Bryant in the group of Byron Murphy and Tavondre Sweat from a year ago.
Whoa. To be fair, I think Sark mentioned him in his last comments to the media, didn't he? Didn't he work Bryant into a comment on D-line?
Yeah, no, I think Aaron Bryant's having a good camp, but I've never heard anybody quite say that.
Right.
That feels like a little bit of hyperbole. I wouldn't go putting any like side bets on Bryant going to the NFL after this year and being a first-round draft pick, but like it's certainly encouraging. And I also don't think that it's stopping Texas from looking for help in the portal once the portal opens up, if there's help to be found. But better to hear that than like, no, he sucks. We're still waiting. So, attaboy Aaron Bryant for getting some love from Jake Majors today.
Absolutely. Specs chat firing up. We appreciate you being in there. Let's take a breath and once again, let Tom tell you about AV consultations. Ketch's favorite part is coming towards the end, but there's a lot of cool stuff in there about what they can do for you at AV consultations. Check it out and we'll keep talking Texas football.
Hi, this is Tom McKay with Audiovisual Consultations. Today's home electronics can be a bit daunting. My company has spent the last 36 years making sure they are not. For those of you who have not experienced our services yet, we'd like to invite you to give us a try for all your home electronics needs. We carry all the major brands of televisions and stereo equipment at prices you can't find in stores. And we come to you. There's no need to leave your home to find great pricing and incomparable service. No traffic, inexperienced sales geeks, or pushy showroom tactics. We believe in having some fun and dreaming big. You have a dream for your home entertainment? Let us know. We can make it come true. And we are always there to help after the job is done. We cultivate clients for a lifetime by treating everyone like their family. No, not those family members. I'm talking about the ones you actually like. So relax, hug your kids, make love to your wife, and smile. Then, when you have a moment, give us a call at 255-8678. That's 512-255-8678 or online at avconsultations.com.
There you have it. And congrats again to our winner, James, I think it was. It won the bracket contest and got that 65-inch TV from Audio Visual Consultations. Lots of stuff in the specs chat. I'm just going to throw this one up. Maybe Bear decided to stay and take up the search for the real killer. Well done, Uncle Mickey. Well done. We'll get there later. Well done. Well done. Yeah, not your average famous person dying day today with the O.J. Simpson thing.
Hey.
We'll get there.
Can I give you one more comment that Blue made
Absolutely.
today?
Yeah.
Blue made a point to say, looks like somebody asked him if he thought this year was a contract year. He's a junior.
Right.
And he said, quote, "We'll see how the year goes, but that's the plan. The plan is to be gone to the NFL," in parentheses. I'm actually looking at this is from Chip Brown. I'm seeing on a tweet that he put after this year.
Okay.
So something to file away.
Here's a question that's been rattling in my head for about a day or so, Catch. We'll find out later on, but once we get to July, who does Sark take to his first SEC media days as the Texas head coach? And does he take a running back?
No,
and if
I don't think so.
Who's that guy? I'm interested just who that is every year. Seems it'll matter to me, and then others will just say, no, it doesn't really matter.
You got to think Quinn will be one on offense.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'd be shocked if it's not Quinn, but then do you do Quinn and somebody else on offense? Is it one of the transfer receivers because their experience?
I think it's Kelvin Banks.
You could go Banks and Ewers on that side, and we'll see when it comes time, but just
I think the defensive side is where it's really interesting. Would you take Anthony Hill as a sophomore? You know, is it Baron Sorrell? Like, I think, it's really interesting to who they might take. I think the offensive side of the ball is maybe it's Jake Majors. Like, I think it's more obvious who those guys might be on offense. I don't know on defense, but yeah, I could turn that into a show.
Yeah, exactly. We may do that at some point. Alan says, smash that like button. We do appreciate you, Alan. Somebody else checking in from Greensboro. We assume that's North Carolina for Papa Chachi. Papa Chachi. I like that name. Also, how about this one, Catch from Vivek? Do you agree here? I don't know if Vernon Broughton is a true starting level DT tackle. Didn't need that tackled. All right. For an SEC contending team.
I agree. I don't know that either.
Don't quite know. Yeah, trying to find that out, Vivek, and maybe that's another reason why this portal discussion is happening. Quick one on the recruiting front, Catch for Matt. Lots of buzz on 5-star wide receiver DeCorian Moore. Have y'all personally heard similar buzz linking him, flipping him to Texas?
Matt, what I would tell you is go to our subscribe to orangebloods.com, because that question leads me to believe that you aren't on orangebloods.com. You let me know. I'll get you hooked up. 2, you can go check out our recruiting hour show from Monday. We spent a lot of time on DeCorian Moore. But yes, the short answer is absolutely yes.
Mm-hmm. There you go. We appreciate everybody jumping in the chat. If you get us a super chat, it will go right to the front of the line. Interesting comments from those players. You said it was Blue, Jake Majors, and who else? Oh, and Helm.
Yes.
And Gunnar Helm with comments today to the media. Interesting that Jaden Blue is getting those moments. Interested to see where running back and receiver who really gets to step to the front of the line for Texas this year. 9 days until the spring game. All right, Catch. Anything else on the Longhorn football front before we head to other things?
No, I think, look, we've talked about the main things. I will say Jaden Blue made a point to single out Trey Wisner and say that he thought Trey Wisner was the guy that had made the biggest jump of anybody since last season. So that, that coincides what we've been hearing about how well Trey Wisner's been playing. But I think we can move on.
All right. Feel free to chat, throw in the specs chat. about whatever you want. If it's questions about Texas football, if you want to reiterate any of the Bear Alexander, or you want to hear some spring stuff, don't worry. We'll get some of that stuff out there. But let's just hit a couple other things quickly because, Catch, we've experienced a couple things today that we'll never experience again. One of them is that the head men's basketball coach at Baylor has said no to Kentucky after getting off of a private plane from a booster of Big Blue Nation. The Baylor coach has turned down Kentucky. Scott Drew is staying in Waco. Your thoughts?
That's got to be the most humbling thing that's ever happened to the Kentucky basketball program. That it's Kentucky. I mean, Kentucky is Alabama football. So that you approach the Baylor basketball coach, and look, let's be like, Scott Drew is a made man in Waco. He's won a national championship. He's been to a couple of Elite Eights. Like, we all know, like, you and I both thought yesterday that would actually be a good hire for Kentucky. I didn't think ever in a million years that Scott Drew would turn Kentucky down. And it's just a reminder that in 2024, a lot of these coaches, they don't want to deal with the Kentucky-ness of it all. Right. That they own their little town. They're gods. They get paid a lot of money. They can have success. Like, this isn't a guy that's been knocking on the door and like he just can't get over the final hump because Baylor's not big enough.
He's got the jewelry. He doesn't just have an argument. He's got more national titles than Mark Few. Like, Mark Few could tell you it can happen at Gonzaga, but Scott Drew will just laugh and go like, huh? Well, maybe, but it happened in Waco. We did it. Yeah. We went and won the whole damn thing, and they built that building for us. They built a new place for us.
I'm still, you know what Kentucky basketball kind of reminds me of right now is Texas football a decade ago. The facilities apparently aren't great. They're outdated. That right now, Scott Drew has better basketball facilities than Kentucky has.
Wow. Is that true?
Yes. Yes.
That's a shocker. That is a shocker if it's true. I had not heard that.
And it makes me think of the bubble.
Yeah.
Right. And the bubble's still a thing. Like,
yeah. And it's still hopefully Kentucky's not 2 steps back like the bubble. Bubble's 2 steps away from where it needs to be. Hopefully Kentucky's not there.
I think these coaches are like, look, the facilities aren't great. And if John Calipari can't be happy at Kentucky, why would I be any different? So, because this isn't John Calipari retired from basketball. He's 78 years old. He's pulled the Nick Saban and he's stepping away. He's gone to Arkansas, where Arkansas currently has better facilities and may have the BBs in the box a little bit more than Kentucky. And so it feels like people are looking at Kentucky and saying, that place is kind of a mess. So yes, it's Kentucky, but it's a messy Kentucky. And that's what it felt like we heard about Texas more than a decade ago. That when Mac left, Texas was the cesspool and, the boosters were too involved. And, that's just the stuff that was certainly the national perception. Scott Drew staying at Baylor, yesterday when we talked about it, I thought, man, if Kentucky wants Scott Drew, I guess they'll get Scott Drew. Him staying at Baylor and not going to Kentucky, I don't know where Kentucky goes from here. Maybe they need to go to the NBA. Maybe they need to go hire an assistant coach. I don't know. I don't know what Kentucky does, but it seems like the big-time college coaches are like, no way.
I think the answer is going to be you go back to a couple guys that have said no to you and make them say no again. They probably need to make Hurley say no again, and they know Billy Donovan will change his mind. We watched Billy Donovan back in the day change his mind on a grand scale. So make him say no again. Here's a name that I saw on the next list, Catch, that was interesting to me. Underwood at Illinois. I wonder if they'll end up at that type of level where it's a good, solid coach who's shown he can coach at multiple levels, and they're going to have to, for them, sorry, Coach Underwood, they're going to have to settle for that type of idea rather than get a flash guy.
Thing about Hurley is I think that might be like socially, politically, like that is an East Coast, maybe a blue family. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, that they're from the Northeast, man. Like they aren't built the same way that maybe like Kentucky people are built.
Yeah, no,
when he said I'm not going, he made a point to say, like, my wife is not leaving Connecticut.
His wife's a Jersey girl, I think is what he said, right? She's like a Jersey girl. And he's like, if you tell her we're going too far from New Jersey, she's out. Like I don't want to get divorced.
When I heard that, I was like, that woman has all the money she needs, and she is not about moving to Kentucky. And I get it. I have family in like New York and New Jersey and Philadelphia, and they're not trying to move to Kentucky either.
Right. Yeah. I would totally totally get it. But it is a wild fact that just happened. Also, if you're in the mood for a weird story today, go look up why the internet is mad at Chip Gaines of Chip and Joanna fame. I won't explain it all to you, but it's a wild 2024 version of a story for you.
By the way, he part of what he said though is that like we've got Jesus and God out our side at Baylor, so we don't have to worry about Kentucky. And one of the very first things that Scott Drew said was that we're Jesus first in this program.
Yep.
So you Baylor fans that got mad at Scott Drew, Chip Gaines.
Yeah.
Maybe that he's right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Super chat question real quick, Chad, from Steven, $5. What would the starting defensive tackles be if Alexander transfers? And what would it be if we got him and the Michigan guy? Spring game plans. First of all, I think the starting defensive tackle, if they got Bear Alexander and nobody else, would probably be Bear Alexander and Alfred Collins. What would it be if they got him and the Michigan guy? That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a little deeper because
the Michigan guy, Grant is your best defensive tackle. Then it comes down to, do you think Bear Alexander or Alfred Collins is maybe the better player? I think it would probably be Bear Alexander and the Michigan guy.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
But I can't say that with complete certainty. Spring game plans. I'm not sure what that actually means, Stephen.
Well, I don't know if this is what Stephen is referencing, but we do have our plans set for our Orange Bloods event the night before the spring game. So if you're asking about that, we do have that set up, the Orange Bloods spring game kickoff event, whatever you want to call it. It's at the pitch. The pitch on Harris Ridge, I believe it is, thepitchaustin.com if you want to check out the website. 6 to 9 next Friday night. So next Friday, 6 to 9 p.m., we're trying to get confirmed of everybody that's going to be there, but be a good group of Orange Bloods folks and your chance to come and check out. We'll do a little Q&A at about 7, so you can come in. You can ask Ketch and Anwar, and I think Jason Sukamel told me yesterday he's going to be able to make it. I'm checking with Alex Dunlap, seeing if he's going to be there. If we can get the 4 Modcast guys there, it could just turn into a live Modcast. And y'all can just
I don't think Anwar is going to be there.
What's that?
I don't think Anwar can make it.
Oh, I thought the location of the pitch was advantageous for Anwar, but that may not be the case.
We'll double check.
We're gonna check on it, but we're gonna get some Orange Bloods folks there. A chance for you to meet us, for us to meet you. In some cases, for us to meet each other, because we have some folks on the Orange Bloods crew that have
Money B, I expect you to be there.
Money B, yes, we met Money B at the last event. We will hope that he is there again. So yes, the pitch next Friday, 6 to 9 for that event. So check it out. Stephen, thank you for that super chat and that question. Also, thanks to everybody piling in to the Specs chat. Let's hear from Lisa and the Rabbit. It's Masters weekend. Get stocked up.
you're needing, Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
There you go. Maybe you need to whip up some Arnold Palmers or John Daly's or whatever it is. Masters had a little weather today, but they think it's going to be good for the rest of the weekend. So we will be following that. If you're into the Masters, this is your weekend. Thank you for everybody jumping in the chat. I'm just scanning here, making sure we don't have any super chats right now. So Scott Drew is going to stay in Waco. Kentucky continues to look for a coach. And catch the other massive news of the day today in sports is O.J. Simpson dying at the age of 76. A lot of people, including this guy, did not know O.J. Simpson was battling some form of cancer. Apparently he was, and he is dead at the age of 76. And the reaction kind of has been what you would think so far. This is a truly unique one in the world of sports. This isn't just sports figure dies, everybody pays their basic respects. This one's complicated, Catch.
Yeah. I hesitate to say what's going on in my head because a lot of people might take exception to the harshness of it all. Mm-hmm. It's one of the only times I can ever remember I have actually seen people on social media be pro-cancer on this particular situation. And that alone tells you how complicated the story is. Look, OJ's just a bad dude. I got nothing good to say. I'm not in the whole, I don't want him to rest in peace, if I'm being completely honest. So there'll be no RIP from me. What I hope is that the people that he murdered, that their families, I hope that they find some rest and comfort on this day. I would imagine it only, even in his death, it brings up probably some forever just horrific memories and feelings and emotions. And my thoughts and prayers are with those people today. I don't have a whole lot of positives for the juice. What I will say is it is one of those moments though, man, him in the Bronco, when they interrupted the NBA finals. I remember where I was. I remember who I was with. I had just graduated from high school and we were having a party at a house across the street from Westlake High School. And so I don't remember whose house it was, but somebody's parents were gone. And there was about 10 of us that were watching the Rockets and the Knicks. And then that happened and we were all captivated. You didn't know what was going to happen. So it's weird. There aren't a whole lot of other things about the juice specifically from the years that followed that I remember exactly where I was, but it's crazy how we all remember that.
This may be one of the strangest chats from JD. I know whose house OJ will haunt first. Thank you, JD. Appreciate you for that. I don't know exactly where JD is going with there, but
I gotta believe that it wouldn't be me.
So
OJ would haunt I bet he won't. I bet I'm not the first.
No, definitely not. A couple thoughts, Catch. The one thought that popped in my head today was if a certain list of things is true, if everything I'm about to say is true, if there is a heaven, there is a hell, you have to meet with St. Peter at the pearly gates to figure out where you go. And everyone, regardless of where they end up, has to have that meeting with St. Peter. If you're St. Peter and OJ walks up, what's the question? If you only get one, is there a question? Is it a comment? I don't know. Do you have the 10 commandments on a lighted board behind you and one of them is blinking really loud? I don't know what you do, but if all of that is real, St. Peter, I don't even know how you deal with that one. If you're St. Peter, are you looking forward to it? And he's known, right? St. Peter knew before today, because you got to get prepped for that kind of thing, because it's all been laid out before anyway. He knows. So What's the question?
Yeah,
What do you say
OJ doesn't get to bullshit his way past St. Peter.
Right? What do you say to OJ? Does St. Peter, as he walks up, does OJ get played? Like, let's also assume for a second that he did it. Does he get like a video that pops up in the clouds of the murders from a perspective OJ doesn't even know? Or he's like, oh God, was that in that other tree? How could he possibly? And then St. Peter's just folding his arms like, do you have something to say? Do you have thoughts? Like, that's what I wonder.
I thought of the movie Little Nicky, which I'm pretty sure you haven't seen.
That's true. I've not seen it.
But one of the scenes in like they've got Hitler running around in hell wearing a maid's outfit.
Did the glove fit? That's a good question. Good question. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. But how about this too, Catch? I found a great comparison for you. You just talked about Bronco Chase, right? So congrats, first off, to women's basketball because they did beat the men's championship game. Women's championship game, 18.7. Men's championship game, 14.8 million. It's the second lowest number they've ever had for the men's championship game.
What was the peak?
I did not see a peak number for the men. I looked all through the story. I couldn't see the peak number. So honestly, I don't know. Peak for women was 24, they said. 24 million.
Yeah.
So after telling you that, Catch, guess how many people they estimate watched the Bronco chase?
I'm going to say 40 million.
95 million.
Jesus.
95 million people. Let that just soak in for a second. Take the men's championship, take the women's championship, put them together, and you're not even close to the amount of people that they believe watched the OJ Bronco chase. It is one of those crossroads days for everybody.
I thought when I watched it that we were going to see OJ like either shoot himself. Like I thought when we were watching it live, I can remember thinking like, are we about to see OJ die? Is this about to happen? It didn't happen that way, but man, I thought it was. We all thought, is he going to shoot himself? Like, how is this going to end where we're all watching it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's a good one. Here's an interesting question idea. Did you misplace any other gloves?
I saw a video from
God.
It's crazy to think how different the country was back then.
Yeah.
Because I can remember I want to say Doc Allen, one of my favorite Texas fan posters, Texas fans period, on social media, posted a link to a Mad TV sketch that they did.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 3 minutes of them doing a skit where OJ was hawking a VHS tape, and he wasn't able to say the words out loud that he was gonna. I'm gonna, until I can find the kill.
He couldn't get it.
He couldn't say the words, and he was gonna, he was gonna search endlessly for the killers and never stop.
God, incredible. It's such an amazing story. And if you have not seen I don't even know if they called it a 30 for 30, but they made wasn't it a 10-part? Or no, it wasn't 10. Michael Jordan's was 10. I think it was a 5-part.
Yeah, it was a 5-parter, The Made in America. The
Made in America 5-part, like 30 for 30-ish kind of deal. Man, if you haven't sat through that.
That's as good as they've ever put together.
Especially if you're younger than Ketch and me. I'm damn near 50. Ketch's a little younger, as he pointed out. Like Ketch, I remember being in a college class when the verdict came down, and my favorite professor of all time walked back in the room and just stood in front of us, and none of us knew because of no phones, and obviously like the internet is so young then, and all. We had to wait for him to tell us. I can still see his face. I can still hear the reaction in the room when he walked in and calmly said to the room, not guilty. And everybody, and then for the rest of the day and the week, like you just reacted after that. But if you're not old as we are, go back and watch that 5-part doc. It is like you said, it was another planet in like June 10th of 94 and then June 20th of 1994, just two different worlds, two completely different worlds.
Crazy. Just crazy. I mean, the whole thing is such a social commentary in a million different directions. It's crazy just to think that until yesterday, right? As of yesterday, that he was just still living amongst. It's one of those things that, like, whenever I even hear his, on the rare times he would pop up in the last decade or so, involved in something, you just go, oh yeah, he's still with us.
Yeah,
he's still with us. He's still free. He's living some sort of a good life. Ugh.
Yeah. Here's a what's weird, Uncle Mickey? Hurt stock is up. See, that's just like old people jokes. Old people OJ jokes.
There's no way anybody under the age of 30 knew what that meant.
No chance. No chance. People throwing in this kind of chat. Shapiro and Cochran, the dream team. Yes, JD. Yes, indeed. It's just one of those stories. It is hard not to have some comment today on that. So OJ dead at the age of 76. We figured we needed to mention that. And after that, you might feel like you need a drink. I got a place for you. How about the Deep Eddy Vodka tasting room? Hey, get on out there. 8 different flavors. They can get your mind on or take your mind off of anything. They got 10 times distilled, gluten-free, made in those small batches. And you got some beautiful spring weather going right now. Get on out to the tasting room Thursdays and Fridays, which is obviously where we are now, 11 to 7, 11 to 5 on Saturday. Sunday, it's 12 to 5 out there in beautiful Dripping Springs. Get on out to the Deep Eddy Vodka tasting room with friends, family, have a get together. They are all about having a good time. Obviously, do it responsibly, but get one of those great cocktails. I love the Dreamsicle. Tell them to make you one, and tell them that I sent you out there. Deep Eddy Vodka tasting room on this beautiful Thursday. We started with some Bear Alexander updates. He is still a USC player as of today, but stay tuned because you just never know. We are 9 days from the Texas spring game. Catch, anything else we need to do before we buy or sell?
No, I don't think so. Let's do it.
All right. You want to go first or second?
I'll let you go first today.
All righty. Why don't we go ahead and go here? A different kind of 85 discussion. Buy or sell number 1. UT will lose 5 to the portal and add 2 back to get to the 85.
Sell. They'll lose more to the portal than that. I do think they'll add 2.
Add 2, but lose. So you think they'll actually end up under 85?
Well, they're sitting at 88 right now. I'm including Samaje Burrell. I think they'll lose like 7. They need to lose 4. Now they need to lose 3 to get to 85.
Right.
So you're saying they'll lose another 5? Because that would put them at 83, you got to lose, and then you add the 2. I think they'll lose. Well, I think there's a chance they could also sign a punter in the portal. So they could add as many as 3. I think they may lose between 7 and 9 when it's all said and done.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's go here. Buy or sell. Number 2, you think Lincoln Riley talked Bear Alexander out of the portal? Back to practice. Nothing to see here. Fight on.
Sell, but I do think he's trying to talk Bear Alexander out of the portal. Nothing to see here. I mean, yeah.
I just wanted to see what you do with that one. All right, Cats, let's go to the Masters. Buy or sell number 3. You'll take Scheffler or Rahm over the field at the Masters.
It's funny. Great mind. Don't say anything about this. Great minds somewhat think alike. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you give me those 2 over the field, I think I'll take those 2.
Yeah, both playing really, really well. It's going to be fun to watch them go maybe head-to-head.
He's off at about 15.
Yeah, they had to reset the schedule, right, because of the rain. So I'm interested to see how those guys look today.
He's with Rory today.
Yes. Yeah, great little pairing, right? Him and Rory, and I can't remember who the third one's not. Oh, and Xander, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I didn't see the third one.
I think their third is even interesting as well for the first 2 rounds. So definitely check that out. All right, Catch, buy or sell number 4. You are ready for play-in games and drama. You're ready to stay up late with Chuck and the crew on TNT. You are ready for your favorite sports booty call, the NBA playoffs.
I'm getting there, bye.
Okay.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I've been paying attention very closely. The last week or so, Joel Embiid is back. The Sixers are there's a very good chance that they may be in one of the play-in games as a 7 seed if they don't get the 6 seed. But would they get the Bucks as the 7 seed? Because now Giannis is out. So, like, there's a lot going on. I think the first round matchups are actually going to be really good. So, yeah, no, I'm ready. I'm ready. Entertain me, NBA. I haven't been with you for most of the season. I have, but from afar. But I'm ready to go in. You know it's my favorite booty call of the year.
Quick hit on the NBA. Last games are this weekend. I double-checked the standings today. Lakers and Warriors are both in the play-in games for sure. The Mavericks, my Mavericks, are in the regular playoffs for sure. So all that has at least been locked up. And Catch mentioned some of the other stuff. So next week, play-in stuff happens in the NBA. Finally, Catch, let's go to another sport. Buy or sell number 5. You have peeked at the card for UFC 300, and you're in.
So I've peeked at the card for UFC 300, and I haven't made a decision yet.
Gotcha. Fair enough.
Are you definitely in? Are you going to hook up with Rick and watch it, or what's your plans?
I am definitely in. I'm definitely in. Multiple championships, a lot of big name fighters, and I got a buddy. That my buddy Frank and I go back and forth on who's getting that pay-per-view, and we able to split the money a little bit. He gets one, then I get one, then he gets one. This is his turn, and he's ready to go.
You're in because you're not paying for it.
I'm in. I'm not. This is not mine to pay for, so I'm gonna check it out.
All right, buy or sell number 1 in your mind. Bear Alexander is a 50-50 deal at this point.
This is just so I understand. Do you mean to go to the portal or to come to Texas?
Let's just say portal.
Okay. I'm going to sell and say it's a little more than 50-50. It's got to be more than a coin flip if what just happened. So I'll sell that idea. Is it going to be Texas? I don't know about that, but it feels like he's got to be in that portal at some point. Otherwise, why would all this have happened if he's just practicing and grinding at USC? That doesn't make sense to me. So I'll sell. I'll say it's more than a coin flip that he'll be in the portal. By
the way, I was wrong. Scotty Scheffler has already teed off. They're through 2. He birdied the par 5-2. So Scotty's at -1 going to the 3rd hole for those of you who were just wondering. Yeah. I said I thought he was teeing off in 15.
There's nothing more entertaining to me, Catch, at the Masters than watching the monsters go after the par 5s. There's nothing cooler than that.
I said great minds think alike. Buy or sell number 2. You'll take the field over Scotty Scheffler this weekend at the Masters.
I'll try some reverse psychology and say buy. Since Rahm is in the field, I'll take the field and play the math. But man, am I rooting for Scheffler. Love the way he plays. If Rahm wins, it's a back-to-back, and we haven't seen that since Tiger in 2002. It's been that long since somebody went back-to-back at the Masters. But Scotty could get 2 out of 3. Love watching him play. So I'll buy and take the math, but Scotty Scheffler, I'm rooting for you.
I'm putting you on the spot with this one, so please forgive me. Buy or sell number 3. There is at least 10% of you that felt bad that O.J. Simpson died of cancer.
Oh my goodness. It's an absolute buy. And that's because I was raised by a very sensitive, nice woman who had an incredible mother herself. My other grandmother was also a very nice, sweet human being. The women in my life specifically have taught me that on the base level of things, there's some good and there's bad and there's right and there's wrong, but you can't go around celebrating people dying. So more than 10%, yes. I'll say there's, let's get it up to, I'll go with a quarter. I'll say 25%.
Wow.
25% of me felt bad today. The man's got family. The man's got people who deal with him every single day that I'm assuming actually like him. And they're sad today. And that's not good. So I'll say a quarter of my soul felt bad. How about that?
Though, speaking of souls,
Yes.
buy or sell number 4. Scott Drew is going to heaven because he's staying at Baylor. Would have gone to hell if he had left for Kentucky.
I think that has to be a buy. Look, the job he was about to take that he didn't take was held by who? John Calipari. John Calipari, also a very religious man that once said he lost a championship because God didn't want Derrick Rose to hit a free throw. That's real. Go look it up. So obviously these dudes are in tune with a different way, Catch. The plan right now, somehow God's plan is for him to go from Kentucky to Arkansas, but for somebody else to go to Kentucky, and Mr. Drew stays in Waco. So yes, that will get you to heaven, because if the folks in Waco were right, yeah, God would have punished him for wearing blue. Absolutely.
All right, and finally, number 5 is prime on prime hotter than.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we did this one before back in the day when we did a radio show together.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long time ago. That was like over a decade. So,
okay,
buy or sell. In their primes.
Beyonce
hotter than Tina Turner.
Oh, this is interesting. All right. Okay. First of all, we got to figure out what we believe is the prime of Tina Turner. Tina is a goddess on multiple levels, and there's a lot of different Tina Turners we could go with.
I think Tina in the 70s with Ike, with the fringe.
You're going Proud Mary.
Yeah, I'm going Proud Mary Tina.
All right, if we make Proud Mary Tina the mark, then what's Beyonce?
That's a good question.
Because some would say the video for Texas Hold'em it might be their mark. Have you seen that yet?
Yeah, no. Look, Beyonce's, if she ain't in her prime, she's close to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I drunken love Beyonce like a little more than a decade ago.
Right, I got you. As much as I am a massive fan of Tina Turner, and there's certain things, there's certain qualifications and certain lists where I would put Tina Turner above Beyonce. Not this one though. I'm gonna go Beyonce. I will buy. I'll go Beyonce. When we're talking about the full package of everything involved with everything it can be, I'll go Beyonce. But it's close.
I think that's the correct answer.
Boy, it is close. It is close. But she is something else. The more I think about the songs I like on that album, the more I would tell somebody, just go check it out. You may not love it. But you'll remember it. It's memorable efforts. I love that in music. And Texas Hold'em's a legendary song. People will be referencing and dealing with that song forever now. It's big time. Pick of her in the Longhorn jersey wearing Paul. It's a hell of a thing. And here's the other thing, Catch, and I don't mean this as an insult to Beyonce in any way, but it's a hotter than discussion. There are certain qualities of Beyonce that push a little harder in the hot category than Tina, whereas Tina might be seen as, what's the word? It's, if you're just saying flat out like beautiful, or that like classic, almost a queen-like atmosphere. I know they call Beyonce the queen bee, but there's a regal quality to Tina Turner in a way, and regal doesn't mean hot for me. But Beyonce has a way of getting in the weeds hot if she needs to, slightly differently than Tina.
Who's sultrier?
When the song is happening, Tina. When the song is happening, Tina.
When she's sweating, is like sultrier.
Well, here's the difference. Tina glistens better, but Beyonce doesn't appear to sweat. See, that's the thing that freaks me out about Beyonce. I went with my daughter to see the movie Catch, and she didn't sweat for like 2.5 hours. I have no idea what's going on. My daughter showed me a video from Brazil during the Eras tour, and it looked like Taylor Swift was about to pass out. She was sweating buckets. And then I go see the Beyonce movie, and apparently sweat did not go on tour with her. I didn't realize that was possible.
I did a Google search of Beyonce sweating, and there are photos of her sweating.
Oh, and I bet it's awesome too. Just like Tina. Tina. There's just a sexiness to everything she does. But that's a hell of a battle right there. You know I'm a Tina Turner guy. First concert ever was Tina. Private dancer tour. I fell in love that night. I'm not gonna say bad words about Tina, but I would, you gotta call a hotter than.
There you go.
If we're gonna play a man's game, we got to play a man's game. All right, there you go. Anything else, Catch? Any other? Did we get any late breaking Bear Alexander news while we were doing Buy or Sell?
God, I hope not. No, and I hope it stays that way until the 15th.
Yeah. By the way, just a real quick chat at the end here. Rex says Halle Berry over all these. Rex, I would disagree with that comment. I would disagree with that idea. I don't think you could just throw it out and say Halle Berry is definitely hotter than both Tina Turner and Beyonce and then throw it away and walk. I don't think we get to do that, Catch. That's not fair. Come on now.
I think she's hotter than both.
Do you really?
And
it's not even a discussion.
Well, the thing is, we've seen Halle naked, and we've seen her do like sex scenes and like, I think Halle is, as well as Tina aged, Halle may be aging even better.
Oh, good grief.
I'm a mark for Halle Berry.
All right. Fair enough.
I'm a mark. What can I say?
You're one of those people that believes that scene in Swordfish was actually worth it?
I mean, that's not for me to judge or decide. I'm glad that it exists.
Oh, I'm definitely glad it exists, but it was highly underrated or overrated once we got there.
I mean, it's just her boobs, like she's laying there sunbathing, but she gave the world that for $1 million. And thank you, Halle Berry. I'm okay with that.
Oh, look, the negotiation was brilliant. What? I just have to lay there? I'm laying there. I don't have to stand up. I don't have to move. And you're going to pay me $1 million? Absolutely. I'm just saying the universe needed more. If you're really going to show us Halle Berry,
well,
show us Halle Berry.
Universe give us more in Monsters Ball?
Yeah, that's true. But it was more of a twisted version. At least the Swordfish,
Pretty sure she had sex with Billy Bob.
I
think that actually happened. I think that happened on camera.
That was a hell of a movie. That's all I know. That's a movie I just need to see once, Catch. One time. One time. I have not viewed that movie twice. Don't need to see it. Monsters Ball.
I don't think I've viewed that movie twice, but I've viewed that scene more than once.
The scene is different. Yeah, the scene is very, very different. Fast forwarding and rewinding, kids. What's what we used to have to do with VHS tapes. All right. We're good? You good?
I am now.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Modcast is coming up later, 4:00 this afternoon. Check out the Modcast crew with the very latest. And, of course, tonight on orangebloods.com, it is the War Room. Should be a wild, lively War Room tonight. There's your QR code. If you want to scan it, they will get you all the news and notes as we get ready for the spring game. We're 9 days away. Once again, the OB event, Friday the 19th. It's at the Pitch next Friday, 6 to 9 p.m. Come and check it out. A little meet and greet, and we'll do some Q&A at 7. Come ask your questions of the Orange Bloods crew. Thanks to the Pitch for helping us out with that. Thanks to all of you for liking, subscribing, and getting your notifications as well. Great group in the Specs chat today as we wrap it up. Y'all have a great Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow at noon for a Friday show. If this was a Thursday, what the hell's Friday going to be? We'll find out. We're house divided.